Hello listeners, this video discusses about Doctor Faustus by Christopher Marlowe. Christopher Marlowe was born in the year 1564 and he died at a very early age in 1593. He was an English playwright, poet and translator who belongs to Elizabethan era. Marlowe is known for his introduction of blank verse in his works. His most famous works are The Jew of Malta, that was performed in 1592, and Doctor Faustus. And his other notable works include Hero and Leander, Tamburlaine the Great, Edward II, The Tragical History of Doctor Faustus, Dido, Queen of Carthage. Altogether, he has written 6 dramas by collaborating with other writers. The play that was written using blank verse is Tamburlaine. Let's now see the Elizabethan tragedy drama by Christopher Marlowe. The full name of this drama is The Tragical History of the Life and Death of Doctor Faustus. The year in which this drama is written is unknown to anyone, but probably it was written in 1592 or 1593. That was shortly before Marlowe's death. This drama exists in 2 texts. One is the 2 versions, another one is comic scenes. The drama starts with a prologue and has 13 scenes and it ends with an epilogue. Let's now see the characters of the drama Doctor Faustus. The first character is Doctor Faustus, who comes from a humble background. And he is a gifted scholar who is living in Wittenberg, Germany in the 16th century. He thinks that there is a limitations for traditional knowledge, so he decides to sell his soul to the devil in exchange for 24 years. So during the 24 years, he wants to have unlimited knowledge and power. So Faustus, in order to attain his ambition, he tries to move around the world to attain all kinds of knowledge. He also uses his magic to engage in petty practical jokes and also tries to fulfill his desire for a beautiful woman. That is, he summons Helen of Troy to be his lover. Next character is Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles is from a Hebrew background. He is a liar and a devil of craft and cunning. He is a devil who summons Faustus for 24 years. Mephistopheles is gleefully evil and he helps to sell Faustus' soul. He also encourages Faustus to waste his 24 years of power. Next character is Wagner. Wagner is Faustus' student and servant. Faustus actually sells his soul to Lucifer. So his student, he does not sell his soul to Lucifer, just like how his master did. He also steals Faustus' books and learns how to summon demons. And at the end of the play, he seems concerned about his master's fate. Next character is Lucifer. Lucifer is Satan. Lucifer is powerful and he is a practical businessman who is aware of his weaknesses. His interest towards Faustus' life and his affairs are usually represented by Mephistopheles. Next is Chorus. Chorus is a single person who is actually a traditional figure in Greek tragedy. The chorus here delivers the prologue, monologue and the play, and it also delivers the epilogue. So the chorus here helps to introduce and set the scene for the main plot and also helps to conclude the play. Next is Good Angel and Evil Angel. These are a pair of angels who appear on stage every time when Faustus wavers in his resolve or when he wants to consider repenting. These 2 angels, they usually deliver contradictory messages, that one will promise for God's forgiveness and the other angel will convince to embrace the powers and treasures of dark magic. Next character is Robin, also referred as Clown. This character summons by stealing one of Faustus' books. He is also a chief character in a few scenes that provides comic relief from the main story. Next character is Horse Courser. Horse Courser is a horse trader who buys a horse from Faustus. Faustus actually warns him not to ride the horse in water, but the horse courser, he assumes that Faustus is trying to cheat him and he rides it in the water. The horse actually melts promptly. Next character is the Pope, who is in Rome. Faustus and Mephistopheles, they often visit this Pope in his private chambers. They annoy him and they play practical jokes on him. Next character is a knight at Charles' court. Charles, he is not convinced of Doctor Faustus and does not want to see him perform his magic. He is a German emperor and Faustus performs his magic at Charles' court. The next main character is Helen of Troy. In Greek mythology, Helen is the beautiful woman in the entire world and who is the cause for Trojan War. There are other minor characters that we can see when we deal the plot summary. Let's see the plot summary. Dr. Faustus is a scholar who's living in Wittenberg, Germany. He thinks beyond from human knowledge and he realizes that he has reached the ends of all traditional studies and he decides to pursue magic and has a servant named Wagner. His servant Wagner brings two men. Their names are Walls and Cornelius. So these two men teach him to perform magic incantations. Now as he begins to learn, there are two angels that appear. One is a good angel, another is an evil angel. The good angel tries to convince Faustus not to pursue unholy magic. In contrast, the evil angel encourages him to do and perform all evil activities. The two men, Wales and Cornelius, they give Faustus the spell books and Faustus is excited to begin to cast spells and to summon the spirits. There are other two scholars who appear, who comes to know about Faustus for his reputation as a scholar, and they wonder what he is up to and come running to Wagner and asks him. Wagner tells that Faustus is with Wades and Cornelius, and the two scholars, they lament about Faustus' interest in magic. Meanwhile, Faustus learns to do tricks with a clever mind with hand movements that can appear to be magic. He also summons up a devil named Mephistopheles. Faustus orders Mephistopheles to provide all the powers, but Mephistopheles, he informs him saying that he cannot do anything unless he is commanded by Lucifer. Faustus asks several questions about hell and its devils and then tells Mephistopheles to bring an offer to Lucifer. Now he will give his soul to Lucifer on the condition that he gets 24 years of unlimited power and knowledge. Also asks Lucifer to provide Mephistopheles as his willing servant. Now Mephistopheles goes to Lucifer and Faustus thinks that he has made a good deal. Meanwhile, Roger finds a clown, that is Robin, and he persuades him to be his servant. He also promises to teach him some magic in return. Now, during the study, Faustus, he begins to hesitate about the deal that he already proposed with Lucifer. And in the middle of the study also, he debates and he wants to repent in turning back to God. The two angels also appear whenever he repents. The good angel will try to convince him to move back to God. Similarly, the bad angel will tell him that whatever he does is right. Faustus also listens to the bad angel's advice and he renews his resolve to give his soul to Lucifer. Whenever Faustus calls, Mephistopheles returns, and Faustus questions him about hell before officially agreeing to his deal with Lucifer. Mephistopheles, before he teaches about hell, he demands that Faustus has to certify an agreement with a deed of gift which is written in Faustus' own blood. Faustus also agrees to give an agreement. As he attempts to sign the agreement, his blood becomes thickened as it refuses to sign. Mephistopheles also fetches some hot coals in order to melt the thickened and solid blood, and Faustus takes the help of Mephistopheles and signs the agreement. However, Faustus immediately regrets for his deed, but he is immediately distracted from his worries when Mephistopheles summons up a group of devils who brings him various riches. Faustus also asks Mephistopheles questions about hell. He also asks him to provide a wife, but Mephistopheles cannot do anything which is related to marriage, because marriage is considered as a holy ceremony. So he summons a devil woman instead. Mephistopheles also gives Faustus some books that contains all the knowledge of astronomy and the stars, as well as the books contains knowledge of plants and trees. Faustus, now and then, he repents his sin for giving his soul to Lucifer. So whenever he repents his sin, the angels reappear and they try to convince him, and the other try to distract him. On hearing the angels' advice, Faustus again decides not to repent, and Mephistopheles teaches him about the movement of the planets and the composition of the universe. Faustus questions Mephistopheles about who made the world, and Mephistopheles, he refuses to answer as he does not want to say the name of the Lord. On hearing this, when Faustus is alone, he repents again and turns to God. As usual, the angels appear again, and Faustus expresses his wishes, saying that he wants to repent his sin to God. After this, Lucifer appears with other angels. He tells Faustus that if he wants to repent his sin to God and Christ, he cannot attain power. Then Faustus apologizes and assures Lucifer that he'll reject God. Lucifer then entertains Faustus by summoning up personifications of 7 deadly sins. He also asks him to read a book, provides him a book, and promises that he will show hell to Faustus. Meantime, the clown, that is Robin, he steals one of Faustus' spell books and tells his friend Rafe. Rafe is an innkeeper. He says that he wants to spell magic by using the spell books. After this, Wagner, he informs to the audience that Mephistopheles has taken Faustus on a tour of the world in a chariot which is drawn by dragons. So Mephistopheles takes him to the tour in order to teach him all the secrets of astronomy. Now they both headed to Rome. As they are in Rome, Faustus wants to sell all the city's monuments, but Mephistopheles tells him to stay in Pop's private chamber, and he asks him to play a joke on him. Meantime, Mephistopheles makes Faustus invisible, and they both conduct mischief as the Pope and his cardinals attempt to have a dinner at a party. So in the dinner, a group of religious men, they attempt to sing a lament to drive away all the evil spirits. Simultaneously, back in Germany, winter means wine merchant, he attacks Robin and Rafe for stealing a goblet. Goblet is a drinking glass with a foot and a stem. Now both Robin and Rafe, in order to escape from wine merchant, they uses Faustus' spell book to summon Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles he appears due to the spell, but he is frustrated that he has been summoned by two slaves for just a poor task. So simultaneously after traveling, Faustus returns to Germany. Now by the time he reaches Germany, his fame has spread far and wide as a conjurer. Having heard about Faustus, Charles V, who is the German emperor, he invites Faustus to his court, having heard about his magic skills. At the emperor's Charles court, Faustus, he calls the spirit of Alexander the Great, who is the hero of Charles. As Faustus makes Alexander to appear in front of Charles V, he is impressed, but a knight of Charles V is uncomfortable with the devilish magic and he is skeptical of Faustus. On knowing knight's hatred, Faustus he repays the knight's rudeness by making two horns that appears on his head. After this, a horse courser, meaning a horse trader, he asks Faustus to buy him a horse. Faustus he agrees and tells him not to ride the horse into water. But the horse trader thinks that Faustus is a liar. So he thinks that Faustus is trying to trick him. Then he rides the horse into a pond. In the middle of the pond, the horse vanishes and he also plunged inside the water. Now this horse courser, he becomes angry and he attempts to attack Faustus. When Faustus is sleeping, he pulls on Faustus' leg to wake him up, but the leg comes right off Faustus' body. Now looking at the leg coming away from the body scares the horse courser. In a while, Faustus' leg is instantly replaced by magic. Sometime later, Wagner appears and informs Faustus that he is requested at the court of a nobleman, the Duke of Vanholt. Faustus appears in front of the Duke's court. He entertains the Duke and Duchess with his magic. That was at the middle of the winter. The grapes are unavailable, but the Duchess asks Faustus to make grapes appear in front of them. Faustus, with his magic, he makes grape to appear in front of the Duchess and they are delighted by his magical skills. Sometime later, Wagner, he tells the audience that he is worried of Faustus because he says that Faustus may die soon. Faustus does not care about Wagner's worry. He tries and continues to impress people with his magic. Now there are some group of scholars who asks him to call up the spirit of Helen of Greece, who is the most beautiful woman in the world. Faustus also does what the scholars desire for. Among the crowd there is an old man who appears and he urges Faustus to repent all his sins. Faustus also, as usual, he is troubled and says that he wants to repent. Hearing this, Mephistopheles, he calls Faustus as unloyal and threatens him that he will tear Faustus' flesh for being disobedient. On hearing this, Faustus apologizes and resolves not to repent his sins. He also asks Mephistopheles to help him to send demons after the old man for making Faustus double-minded. Faustus also asks Mephistopheles to make Helen his lover so that her beauty can distract him from all his doubtfulness. Days go by. Faustus identifies that his death draws nearer. He begins to despair and the group of scholars with him, they ask what is wrong with him for his worry. He finally tells the scholars about the deal that he has made with Lucifer and that is horrifying him for 24 years. Now the scholars and Faustus, they try to pray for his soul, but Faustus, he realizes that he has only an hour for him to live. Now he begs time to God so that he can stand and pray and also repent for his sin. He calls out to God, saying that one drop of Christ's blood would save him from his death and sin. However, he is unable to commit to repent. He tries to bargain with God, asking for salvation in return for 1,000 or 1,100 years in hell. By the time the clock strikes midnight, Foster's time is up. He cries aloud to God. He asks a last promise to burn his books as devils surround him and they all drag him away. After this, the chorus appears in front of the audience and delivers an epilogue in the conclusion of the play. The chorus affirms that Faustus has fallen to hell, and he tells the audience that if any human being tries to learn unlawful things beyond the limitations of human knowledge, then their life would end similar to Faustus' life. Let's see the themes that is used in this drama. Temptation, sin, redemption. Next is the bargain. Bargain can be referred as Faustian bargain because Faustus has bargained to Lucifer in order to provide him many kinds of magical skills to deal with the devils. Next is the Renaissance because when Marlowe wrote this play, that was the period of English Renaissance, where a lot of transition from a more medieval society to Renaissance were happening. Next is fate versus free will, and the last is education, knowledge and power. The symbols that are used are the good and evil angels, blood and the 7 deadly sins. The 7 deadly sins occupies Faustus' mind, that are pride, covetousness, wrath, envy, gluttony, sloth and lechery. So in the drama, Lucifer, he entertains Faustus by calling up all 7 deadly sins. Hope this video helped you to learn about Dr. Faustus, written by Christopher Marlowe. If you have any suggestion for a discussion, please write it down on the comment section. Thank you for listening. Please do subscribe